I cannot begin to describe how absolutely exhausting these last 4 or 5 months have been on the farm. If anything, I am understating the problem. I'm Rob from Dowdle Family Farms, and in this video, I hope to share with you a shorter, condensed version of our journey with Mangalitsa pigs. We acquired our first Mangalitsa pigs almost 2 years ago. We had been keeping standard pigs from the meat breeds like Herefords, Durocs, Chester Whites, and those were all just really, really well-performing pigs that we had on our farm. The problem that we ran into, however, was that we had a difficult time getting feeding pigs, especially at the time of the year where we wanted them. In an effort to start breeding our pigs, these Mangalitsas were available. I'd heard about how wonderful the Mangalitsa pork was. I'd had American guinea hog, I'd processed that pork, and I really loved it. And so I liked the idea of having Mangalitsa pigs. I did know that they grew out longer. However, the main reason we got the Mangalitsas is they were breeding pigs, they were good mothers, and they were proven breeders, so I didn't have any problem with it. The first inkling of a problem that I had with the Mangalitsa pigs, I overlooked, and it was that the boar broke out of the electric fence to breed with many of our gilts of the standard meat pigs, Chester Whites, Durocs, and Herefords. I didn't think much about it at the time because he was doing the job that we had acquired him for. However, he was breeding more pigs than we wanted him to breed. And so, short of a long story, we ended up with about 150 pigs on the farm over the last year and a half. In November and December of last year, we had a couple pigs that would keep jumping through the electric fences. Every single other pig we've had on the farm, 60 plus pigs before these, we had never had an issue. The only time that there would be a problem is if the electric fence were down because of ice on the poly wire. We would retrain the pigs to the fence and then they would stay in. We never had an issue with it until these Mangalitsas. A funny little side note here, Bubba and Evan were out at the farm one day helping me catch these pigs, and this was his response. So I've got Evan Pate here with me today. He's been helping me catch this pig that Bubba's over there. He's been chasing, this is the second pig that got out from the trained electric fence. Evan, what do you think about your first experience farming pastured pigs?
That's stupid.
Many of you are going to say, oh, electric fencing doesn't keep pigs in. If the pigs are trained to electric fence, it'll keep them in. Most of them. Just before Christmas, I was on my way to a school program and I got a text from my cousin who was also on the way to that same school program saying that she passed by and there were pigs in the road. And when I came back to the farm, all the pigs were there and they were in the pen. And then again, these two pigs jumped through the electric fence. At that point, when you have pigs in the middle of a road and they're not staying on your property, it is the responsibility of an owner to deal with it. So, the short of a long story, I culled the two pigs and created a barbecue and gave it to my cousin, several different family members, friends, and we ate pulled pork for several days. In January, I had a similar issue and 2 or 3 more pigs got out. Short of a long story, in January, I culled 6 pigs. We had a barbecue at church. Again, I passed it out to friends. I passed it out to family. I passed it out to people in need. I cooked a lot of pork in those early days in January. By the way, when I say they were jumping through the electric fences, in just about every single one of these circumstances, the pigs had plenty of food. They had shelter from the sun. They had plenty of water. They just wanted to forage in another area of the farm. They just wanted out of the pen that they were in. So in late March, one of my neighbors sent me a text and said, hey, your pigs are out in your pasture, just not in the paddock that they're supposed to be in. I got out there and they had, through the night, run out of feed. So I opened the gate, drove the tractor in, filled up their bulk feeder. The pigs followed me in and I assumed that was the issue. They had just run out of feed. Again, if they run out of feed after 12 hours, it should not be jumping through the fence, but like a yahoo, I did not think through that process very well. I got all the pigs back into the pen except 2, and I put them into our training pen that had a physical barrier they could not get out of. About 5:30 that evening, I got a call from a neighbor that had helped me process pigs before. He called me and said, Rob, I think you've got a couple pigs loose. Now let me pause for a moment saying that I get a lot of phone calls about livestock that are out. It doesn't matter whether they're goats, whether they're chickens. I don't have goats or chickens. Phone calls about cows, even if the cows are 15 miles away, I tend to be skeptical. So I got out to Mr. Benny's house late that Saturday evening. As it turns out, Mr. Benny happened to catch them all. I got them in a livestock trailer and brought them to our big training pen. It's 4,000 square feet. It's not huge, but it was big enough to hold those pigs for a while. That doesn't even count the story where one of our sows got out, kept going over to Rick and Lynn's house, eating their expensive horse feed, sneaking back onto our farm for several days before anybody even noticed. So long story short, what's happened with all our Mangalitsa pigs? We have either processed, sold, or culled just about every single one of our Mangalitsa pigs except the ones that are strictly obedient. Right now I have 13 Mangalitsa pigs. They're not jumping through the electric fences, and I'm not having any problems with them, even if they run out of food for a day. When I get there the next day, they don't run through the electric fences. I don't have any problems with them. They're well trained. But again, that's only 15 or so pigs out of 150 that we've had on the farm at one time that did not jump through the electric fences. For me, it's not just a matter of being absolutely exhausted, dreading the phone ringing and everything else when we have pigs that are loose. The biggest problem is if pigs get off our farm. They are a liability if someone hits them. It is a safety concern, and that is not something that I will have happen. So that's why we have culled, traded, or processed so many of our Mangalitsa pigs now. We're moving on to a different breed of pig. We'll have another video on the new pigs that we've acquired in the last few days. So far, we've had no problems with them getting out of the electric fence. It has been an absolutely exhausting several months. In large part, it's just emotional exhaustion. It's just wearying. Let me just say, if you're going to have Mangalitsa pigs, it is imperative that you have good fencing. I would say woven wire with a strand of electricity just inside the woven wire. Let me say this. I know of some people that keep Mangalitsa pigs in with electric fencing. I'll probably keep a couple Mangalitsa pigs just for our own consumption, but I can keep one breeding sow and her piglets in our standard electric fences training pen, and I don't have to worry about them getting out of the electric fencing. If you've had some experience with Mangalitsa pigs, let me know. If you've had experience with livestock getting out, let me know. For me, I cannot and I will not allow our livestock to get out on other people's property or on roads. It's one thing if it happens occasionally, it's another thing if it happens standardly. It is not worth the safety for the public and the liability for the pigs to get out there and someone to run over them or someone to get hurt because of them. It's Rob from Dowdle Family Farms wishing you the best. Stay tuned for our next video on pigs.